Welcome to the podcast, Dad.
Nice to be here. Nice to be in my own house.
Good,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. So today I thought it's a topic that I wanted to talk about, and it's just I think a lot of people or our age mention this. I also have quite a lot of patients that talk about this, and it is the infamous Dad Bod. And I think talking about what it is and probably the reasons why one may have one, and then what we can do about it. So there's so many questions that get asked about it, and then some people just want to complain about it. So Dad Bods. First of all, what in your mind is a dad bod yourself? Because I don't think we already talked about it. Yeah.
The definition of a dad bod. Well, I mean,
Do you have one?
I'm not going to sit there critiquing myself.
Because you can say dad bod is a six pack, and yes, I have one.
Jason Momoa is a dad bod because he's a dad, and he's got a body.
He's a body, yeah.
He has
a
a body, so he's a dad bod. No, I mean, our definition, or as parents, or once we get to certain ages, obviously you haven't been going to the gym, you've let yourself go, you've got a bit of a gut, almost like skinny fat. I would say almost. I mean, skinny fat is just a condition, right? You're having way too many carbs. You're not putting on any weight. Your muscles are depleting, but your stomach is sticking out. I mean, almost there, right? You're not putting any effort into gym or exercise, and you can see the gut growing because obviously you're relaxing, eating alcohol, too many carbs, cakes, desserts, whatever. I mean, we can probably define that as a dad bod. I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, because do you know what? I haven't actually Googled to see if there's any accepted medical definition of this. I'm pretty sure it's not. But yeah, I would think.
We clearly know what is not a dad bod. A dad bod isn't Jason Momoa, right? You're a dad, and you're hench as fuck. No. That is not a dad bod. Just because you're a dad, you do not have a dad bod because you look like that.
Exactly.
So that's we know it's not that.
Because I would think of it as someone who was fit. Athletic maybe or gymming, and so that's what they were.
But do you reckon they would need to be fit in the first place?
Well, this is what I visited, because I think that skinny fat thing is because I think how it kind of similar to that is that I think they don't have to be fit, they don't have to be like ripped, but they were athletic-ish or fit-ish, and then they had a drop off. So they let themselves go, or again we'll talk about the reasons. I think there's so many things, and it'd be good to hear your perspective. But they it could be like middle age, so it could be when you are a parent, and then so many different things happen at this kind of specific time where you then start to maybe not exercise, not keep up with the fitness or sport or gymming or whatever you used to do from before. And then you put on a bit of weight, especially around the kind of gut area. So when I see someone with a dad bod, you think, do you know what? You could tell they might have been not looking like that.
Yeah, so I mean, what I think you're trying to say is they've got to the dad bod state. So that's one of the ways. You were fit, and then you got...
It's a change. Yeah, because...
Or you could have just been the average guy not training. And like, you remember, you can be slim for quite a while, right?
But things have
changed.
changed.
And then the stresses of parenting or the responsibility of parenting led to you kind of, your body kind of letting go a bit more.
Yeah.
Because people can just play sports or just go, I wouldn't say gym, let's just be average, right? There's a lot of average guys that don't go gym and they still look quite healthy.
Yeah.
They're not, you can't see the belly on them because they're either walking or because they don't have parenting responsibility was in one location. They're always actively moving, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously your responsibilities kind of anchor you down, right? And then they start kind of, we're talking to why it happens, but obviously start snacking, comfort foods, and they just start getting a bit more out of shape. So I mean, there's all that, so there's different ways of getting it, but ultimately what the body is, dad body, right?
And I don't want to say as someone who's, let's say they're always a little bit on the larger side, and they're now a dad, I wouldn't say, they're a dad body, because that's, I feel like there has to be a change.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And that's what I want to kind of talk about. It's like, what is those changes? And, so I think, so what would you say is, because I think you alluded to a few of them, do you think there is a big reasons? I think there's probably millions of mini reasons. What do you think is the biggest?
It's a bit of a tricky one, right? Because, like, first of all, obviously, when my own change, right? We can start from my own change, because that's quite a hard one to answer. because there's so many causes, right? Everyone's different. You can be drinking alcohol, you can just be snacking or whatever, okay? But in terms of my change, like, I would still consider myself quite healthy, yeah? But from looking back at my younger pictures, I wasn't like this. I was a lot skinnier. I don't know if you remember, yeah? Was a lot skinnier frame. And then when I got married, I started to see my frame get wider in general. And that wasn't because of bad eating. I don't think it was, because I've always been active before my marriage and after my marriage. I've never stopped gym. Like, it might have changed what I was doing in the output, but I started to gain weight. So that was my change. But I've never been in the state. I wouldn't say I was in the state of where, like, I was like, didn't do any gym whatsoever. And I got to a point where I was completely dad bod, like, just stomach sticking out there, arms, legs skinny. And I was, sort of trying to visualize the whole dad bod. I don't think I was ever there, but a change did happen. And so I can kind of verify that. So a change will happen once you get married, right? I mean, you can't stay like fucking lean and...
It's not guaranteed, but it's most likely. But
yeah, so I fall in that category. I did see a change. So I can say, there was a change in me. But whether it was towards completely the dad bod, I don't know. Because someone else has to look at me and say, look, you're a dad bod now. I wasn't looking in the mirror every day. But I did see a change. I did see my frame get slightly wider. But again, maybe my output in kind of like endurance training stopped. And I just maybe, because of the time I had, it more lent towards weights. Because obviously we used to go football 24/7. I used to do martial arts 24/7. We used to go running. So obviously, the calorie loss was quite high. And obviously my input, I wasn't snacking and eating 24/7, But then, after I got married, snacking increased, but my activities kind of reduced. I had to pick and choose what I want to do. Football's completely, it's completely non-existence now. And the gym, time spent in the gym, I don't have time to be like, I know everyone advises warm up and stuff, but I don't have time to do the warm up. It's literally just go lift, push some heavy weights, maximize my time usage and get out. So maybe that was probably why my frame changed slightly to being a bit more leaner, to being a bit more wider. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like, shit, but I'm kind of on the stocky, especially for my height, I would say I'm a bit more on the stocky side. So I would say, I did see a change, and parenting did change that.
Because to clarify, my opinion or my view is that, although it's called dad bod, I think it can happen to anyone at this kind of like age where you would typically see someone may have had children, right? So it's kind of like,
So when I said I got married and I saw that change, I wasn't saying it was because of my marriage. It was the changes.
Your wife's fault.
Hey, don't say that out loud. I didn't say it wasn't my wife's fault. But what I'm saying is I noticed a change beyond that time. So I got married, obviously your honeymoon period, at least 5 years in, you're still in your shape. But then you slowly start to, you're married, you're comfortable. Yeah. I wouldn't say you stop caring, but your priorities start changing. And even I think before you have kids, it starts to sway that way. You need to kind of start to line up what you want to do, you prioritize. Both of you together, of course. So obviously I stopped coming football, before I had kids, because you got to spend time with your partner and stuff like that. So it wasn't just kids, but kids, it changes even more drastically once you have kids.
So let's now, because you said quite a few points there, and I think they're all valid. So maybe let's break down each one a little bit more. So let's maybe go to something which I'm passionate about in my studies in the past as well. I mean, maybe not practice as much as I preach, but sleep. And I think this is a little bit more specific to the kids bit, but I'm guessing it can happen without kids. But what do you think the impact of sleep? Because I think for me, when I actually got married, I think I maintained a good level of fitness for actually a couple of years. I think, pre-wedding, I think the lead up to a wedding, I obviously wanted to make sure I looked good in my suit. So I think I trained well. But actually,
I've changed my suit, I think 3 or 4 times to went from smaller sizes to a medium size, then to a bigger size, and then finally I went back to my medium size. So my wife hasn't been happy because she had to go buy a shirt on the morning of the wedding. I actually had to borrow
for a wedding that you went attended to.
Because I thought my previous shirt would fit, because I actually went up a size. And I was it's fine. And on the day I tried it, and she was not too happy, so I had to borrow one. And I've still got it.
From a really, really...
from someone who was understanding. A relative who was understanding about taking his shirt. And
So for a couple of years, actually, I was maintaining my weight. And then I went into probably phase one of a dad bod. But then actually when I had my little one, then I definitely put on weight. And one of the first things, it was a couple of things, but I remember at the beginning, for the first couple of months, when the little one's feeding every 2-3 hours, whatever, I had no concept of day and night. And, you're running on adrenaline. I can't even, like now, if I hear like a fox scream in the garden or a firework go off when I wake up, and that for 10 seconds that disturbing me, I feel like rubbish the next morning. I don't know how I was, awake and helping my wife and, feeding this baby and needed to change nappy for like months. And I think, that must have an impact on how you're feeling, and then maybe eating. So like fatigue, like you're feeling knackered, so maybe not exercising.
Yeah, for me, it did. So let's set the stage. I've got 3 kids at different stages. They're all kind of transitioning now to kind of 4. One's 7 months. We've got one that's going to be 4 now, and then one that's going to be 7. So that's been a long journey for me, and it's all become one big blur right now. So I couldn't tell you specifically at this stage. This is what happened, right? So yeah, do
you know what day it is today?
exactly. I don't. So yeah, but being tired didn't help the gym aspect of it, because you're running on fumes. It wasn't even a fumes thing, because I think I have been eating well, but it's the mental side of it. I am so exhausted, like you said, getting the lack of sleep, and then still getting up, going to work, doing your normal routine, and coming back, and then you have to do gym. It does have an impact, because you do gym and then you don't have time for your kids. These people that say, oh, you should train for your kids to be fit, I think that's absolute bullshit. I really do, because I do gym. I try to fit in that at least maximum hour. Yeah, if I'm blessed, if I get more than that, go in there, do my gym. But then when I'm finished, I'm even more destroyed. I want to just literally face plant straight into the floor as soon as I walk in. I ain't got time for the kids. So those people who say like, do gym so you can be fit for your kids, dude, they're influencers online. They have a YouTube channel. That's all they're doing. Very few of them have a couple of kids, then do a 9 to 5, depending on what their 9 to 5 is. Of course, everyone's 9 to 5 is different now, working from home, right? The average dad is completely changed in this day and age. But if you're doing a normal 9 to 5, then come home and then try and dedicate your time for gym, and then dedicate your time for kids, come on, that's ridiculous for these people online to say it is doable. You should train with them. And you see these videos of people that have got home gyms, especially in America now, because their houses are slightly bigger. They have a home gym in a garage. The kids are running around. They got the camera set up at the front, and they're doing like bench press or squats, and the kids are jumping off the monkey bars. That's all showcase. I'm sorry. I once or twice, especially I had my first one, I did try and introduce them in the gym. You can't be doing like 100 kg squat while my little one's running around between the weights, between the bars. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's it. My mind is like, come on, I can't do that. How do these people do this? And the safety aspect of it, no, it's just a show. I'm gonna say it's just a show. So, but back to the question, right? It is so much more exhausting. So I have been a couple of weeks without doing gym, and then trying to fit in one, and it's the most rubbish session you can ever do. In terms of the food aspect of it, I think that's fine. I don't think I've had a problem there, because either someone else is cooking or I'll have a protein shake or a snack. It's just you're depleted.
So when you are feeling knackered, do you think you don't like? Because I imagine a typical person, when they're tired, they just want just a quick snack. They want to
exactly.
Sometimes you're feeling exhausted and you just want to I don't know, pizza or a burger.
Yeah, perfect example. I think this was last week, right? So I had my breakfast, had a full-on breakfast. I took a protein shake with me to work. Went in 12 o'clock, maybe had a coffee, had my protein shake. They got fruit at work, had a banana. Reasonable. It's not like I did not go without food that day. Come 5 o'clock, I literally called the missus. I was like, you need to put something on. I'm dizzy. As soon as I get home, I'm going to collapse. And that's the day I had gym ready to go. For the whole morning, I was ready to go. By the time I got to the afternoon, it was just mentally, I was gone. I was so exhausted. So I had nothing to do with the food side. And I was just literally, I don't know how much I ate that evening. It was just ridiculous. Just food just kept going in. I didn't see any end. I don't know how much of my wife's cooking I ate. And it was just like, and I had loads of snacks. I got sweet tooth. I had like tons of chocolate afterwards. And it was like, I feel better for some reason. And it wasn't even the fact that I didn't eat before that, or, I was exhausted. I'd eaten the night before. I don't do any of that. I used to do intermittent fasting. I don't do that anymore, because you kind of know your calorie count after a while. You don't need to stay on that kind of system for a long time. Maybe that's something we can talk about on another channel or another episode. But Yeah, you're right. Yeah, snacking. When you're exhausted or tired, fatigue-wise, for some reason, you just think you're just exhausted and you need the energy and you just start eating. Yeah, the amount of times I've done that, just non-stop, just eat for no reason. It's just
Because I think you can
ridiculous.
imagine if you are knackered and then you think to yourself, first of all, it's not an automatic thought of thinking of something healthy, right? I think it's just automatic thinking of
I
something
need it quick. Yeah, I ain't got
quick,
time.
isn't it? Because not even a snack, you can think of like when we sometimes put the little one to sleep, have this bath time routine and everything, and again, this is when he's really young, we'd come down and then we were like, do you know what, this whole day has been exhausting, let's put something in the oven. So it wasn't necessarily quick, and it wasn't necessarily a snack, but we just then could just like sit there and do nothing while it just cooks in the oven. And it was just like oven food, and sometimes it's just beige. You're like, should I steam some veg with it or something? We're like, no, do you know what? Let's just have the beige food. I think that's just an easy trap to kind of get into.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is going to obviously a different podcast in terms of doing gym, but half the reasons why you put on so much weight is what you do outside of the gym. You're not going to lose it. The amount of calories you put on, you're not going to lose it in that one amazing. That gym session could be the most amazing in the world. You feel the pump, you worked out really hard, you put on a sweat, but that can be all destroyed by literally just going to that fridge in the next 5 minutes, and depending on what you pick up, you just destroyed everything you just did. And if you're doing that repeatedly throughout the day because you're so tired, snacking every literally 10 minutes, 20 minutes because you haven't not satiated, you're not full, you're just going to keep gaining weight even if you're training regularly, right? I mean, it's the rest of the day what you do and it's going to put on the calories, right? So, I mean, I'm not telling you to starve yourself for the rest of the day. I mean, it doesn't help, especially if you have kids. But when you have kids and when you have family, it makes it that much more harder, because when you've got nothing else, you can spend a bit more time on planning your day. But when you have kids, it's like you got to spend at least, depending on what kind of meal you want, maybe 10 to 20 minutes on trying to do some sort of decent meal prep to get something healthy in you.
At least,
and when you got some kids running around, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but you got things going on, you got a plan, and if you're trying to lead that life where you want to be healthy in gym, you've got to do it a number of times. It's not just that one meal that you're going to spend 20 minutes on prepping. You've got to prep the next meal after that and the next meal after that. And then it's got to be the days doing your daily routine, build it out weekly. That's going to get shattered. It's very difficult. And I'm not saying it can't be done, because someone's going to contest and say, I do it. I've got 6 kids and I do it. But the circumstances, what are your circumstances, right?
An exception, not the rule as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've seen loads of videos online, right? They're saying, oh, I prep all my food on a Sunday. They got all their meals prepped up. They got 6 boxes or 10 boxes of chicken with salads all prepped up, and they just grab it from the fridge. How many people are doing that? I'm sorry. And what is their lives? They're probably just single. I'm not assuming, right? Probably single. They've done this for a number of years. That's all their routine is. That's their life. They're some sort of influencer doing gym. They don't lead an average life of 9 to 5, having a partner, chaotic life. It's not that, because anyone that can do that, respect to you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But most people can't.
The normal. We're talking for the normal folk here.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I'm not shitting on people that do it. Yeah. I'm just saying he shouldn't be saying it can be done, because it can, but not as easily as they make it out to be. Because I fell in that trap for a little while. I'm sorry, I'm just
sorry.
But kind of like you said, going on to that, we'll talk about the dad bod mentality, right? It's trying to stay in shape. When I saw my kind of body when I kind of saw myself kind of getting out of shape, I was trying everything to say, what am I doing wrong? What can I do to make things easier? And I did go down to do the meal prep, but that only lasted for a couple of weeks, because trying to cram in all that on a Sunday, it's only going to happen to a certain amount of time, because it's not going to happen I can't keep it going, because kids, things change. I'm not there every Sunday to give that time. The Sunday's not committed to being, that's my prep. I can't be like, kids, all of you, for the next hour, 2 hours, leave me alone. I've got meal prep for the rest of the week. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. I've got plans. I've got to go out. I've got to take the kids out. I've got to look after them. The missus might want to break, so I've got to do this. And you can say if it's scheduled that far in ahead, it should be a routine. But with kids, it's not. Nothing's a routine. It's a chaotic lifestyle. So I know I went off on tangent a little bit there, but
no, it's all right.
It's quite difficult.
When my wife was maybe 6-7 months pregnant, when my little one was 6-7 months old, I think, I remember, again, the algorithm. So my wife came across like a good few different people on Instagram. I remember seeing a couple of them, and then I remember one really clearly. It was a woman who's maybe got like a 6-month-old. I think the kid was only about a month or two younger than Marshall at that time. And it was video of her day, and it was like wake up 4:30 in the morning, go to the gym, do skincare routine, prep all the food for the day, and then wake the baby up at like 6 a.m. And it's just like, first of all, like, I'm not going to do that, or she's not going to do that. Neither of us are going to do that. It's like, first of all, like, does that actually really happen? And you're right. It's like, okay, if it does, fine. And if the person swears that's what they do, fine. But I think, first of all, how damaging is that on social media as you've seen that? Because I thought that, I thought, damn, are we doing something wrong here? Why are we not waking up at 4:30 in the morning and doing all of this? And but that's not realistic, right? And for the majority of people to do that kind of, and people have always said that, not necessarily influencers, but people are like, oh, maybe, you can do a bit of a workout either before the kid wakes up or after they've gone to sleep. But it's just like, I've got other stuff to do, right? I've got to tidy the house. I've got to do other chores around the house. Once they've gone to sleep, I need to eat. Have you ever had, like, when the kids were little, ate with them, or do they eat and then you?
They would eat first. Yeah. They would eat first, and then we'd eat. Once we know the chaos is done. Yeah. You can't. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can eat while they're eating, but for us it was get them fed first, make sure they're okay, they're not hungry, and then.
What about when you had one? When it was just one?
A lot easier. Then because we'd rotate, right? We'd rotate. So if my wife was taking her time to kind of feed the little one, I'd eat, so I'm ready. Then I'd take the little one, and the first one would snack throughout because it takes so long to eat, right? So my wife would kind of start feeding, and then if she's not finished, then I would take over, and then so for one is fine. But when it gets to 2, it becomes a bit more harder, and then 3. Then you got to make sure, they're both at 3. But luckily, the first one is still breastfeeding, so we're kind of not there. I don't know who's going to feed the third one. We're going to have to probably share with 2 spoons going at the same. I don't know. We will get there when we get there.
But that's probably an issue, because we've for ages, we've always thought, we'll eat together, but actually it's always been we've cooked him something really nice. We fed him, and we're like, why are we not eating this as well? Like, because then afterwards we're like, oh, what do we eat now? And then we'll make something rubbish. And I was like, I want to eat what he's eating, because we always put so much love and so much care. It's like gourmet, and we just bung some, burger in the oven or something. Yeah. So actually, we are changing that now, where we are making more of it, and then with our bit, we would add loads more salt and chili.
I think the other thing you just pointed out there is like trying to making them. I mean, not about making them a meal that's different to yours, but making them a meal, and when they can't finish it, you eat it. So you're over kind of eating, especially depending on how much they eat. Because as parents, you'll fill up their plate. You want them to be fully satiated, especially when they're eating solid foods and they're eating a lot. You don't know when they're full or not, right? So you'd over prepare their food. And then whatever's left, you'd snack. Even though if you're trying to be healthy, you shouldn't, because you've already eaten your full meal. And I know people say, oh, that's just a tiny bit of food. But if you're trying, that's what builds up.
Innit?
Exactly. Over time, it adds up. Those little snacks will just keep building up. It's not just a one-off.
Like 100 calories per meal, 300 calories, 7 days a week. That's 2,100. That's a whole day's calorie on top.
Exactly. And that's what people don't lose, because in the gym, you're not going to lose that many calories. You're not. It's what you do outside of the gym, which is going to lose your calories and drop your weight, right? That's a lot of people don't get. I mean, the majority of people don't get. Hence why so many of these people online have like millions of views, especially these fitness influencers, because they're showing that they can get absolutely shredded and lean just by going to the gym. I'm sorry, it's not. You go to the gym to build strength and muscle. You reveal that in the kitchen. They're not. They must show their food, but obviously they're not showing their steroid use. But they're not, with my meal in the morning, but pump a steroid. But they're not showing what. I mean, some are showing what they're doing, but for the average person, we're also snacking, and that's when we get carried away with the snackings, the little things here and there, little bite here. It's just something small. But when you do these calorie checkers, calorie counters, or whatever it is, you'll be surprised. The smallest little yogurt, pot of yogurt that your kid couldn't fill up, is God knows how many calories, 200-300 calories on top of your meal that you've had.
Are you gonna have like 3 pots now?
Exactly. I'll be finishing all 3. It's like my wife says it all the time. Like, oh, she doesn't say it to me as much these days, but she'll be like, "Are you gonna finish that?" Because the kids, we don't want to throw away food. I'm looking at them like, no, because you don't want to eat it, so I've got to eat it, and we make food bad. You don't want to throw that amount of food away, especially with Indian families. They will keep bringing the food out. They will just, I mean, to be fair, I think it's with all kids, but Indian families especially, those plates cannot be empty. They will just keep chucking the food on, and that mentality hasn't gone. I mean,
yeah, you're right. There's sometimes when we actually have bits left over from him, if it's like a mishmash of stuff, sometimes we put it in a pot, and the next day, you spread it on toast. Put cheese like a pizza toast of like random bits and veg, which works out. But sometimes there's certain things where it's just like, this is just like weird combination. I might as well just finish it, right?
Yeah.
And it's so hard to, because you're right. I just don't want to waste. I'm doing it because I don't want to waste food.
Yeah.
The dad bod to save the planet.
yeah. I mean, you know what the worst one is actually? The worst one is like when you wake up super early, those days, and you've had your breakfast early, you've had your coffee or whatever it is, and you're ready to give the kids food. When you make their toast or breakfast, whatever it is, and they don't finish it, you're almost having two breakfasts, 2 lunches, 2 dinners. And it's like, oh my God, what did I just do there? Exactly. It's like literally sometimes they won't even want to touch their breakfast. So my wife will go make them something else because I made them some toast with almond butter or something healthy in the morning with a banana. They're like, no, I don't fancy this. So you've already cooked it, trying to kind of prep them for school, and they've come down like, oh, we don't want this, we want something else. So the missus will come down and make them something else, and I've got now toast and banana on the table that's not going to be touched. And we've got to finish it, or all that goes in the bin. So, I mean, if it's a little bit, like the crumbs or something, or, it's fine. But the whole toast that you just made, so it's like, we just eat that. So it's doubling up on your breakfast. And I think over time,
that's definitely.
Massively.
The other thing is like, I'm talking about kind of like touching on like gym, maybe like frequency. I think it's only a very small percentage of people where they don't need to motivate themselves to go to the gym. Yeah, it's just part of their routine. They are, that's life. That's what they do. And I think when they get into the age, either they've got a partner, they've got kids, whether they've got, again, that age where you might be stepping into like a senior role at work with a bit more pressure, a bit more responsibility. You might have a mortgage, you might have loads of bills, and you'll be thinking about, I know it's a long way, but you have to start thinking about retirement. So a lot of these kind of time pressures. So again, I'm trying to think of people who are not necessarily just parents or married. There's all these extra things that come in. So when you have those things, the frequency of gymming will change for most people, right? There are those few. Again, I have to say that because there's people. They are definitely going to say something. I haven't changed my gym routine, and those ones, fine. So for most people, you have to motivate yourself. So I can imagine all these time pressures. If you have to really motivate yourself to get into the gym in the first place, and then all these extra things come in, the frequency is going to change massively, right? I think when we used to gym when we were younger, it was at least 3 times a week for sure, right?
Yeah. That was minimum.
So and I think now thinking of like reasons for Dad Bod, I think that's first of all one straight away easy reason, right? It'll be one or none for most people, I'm guessing, isn't it? Like going to the gym.
So it's a bit of a difficult one because this does come to individuality, right? I mean, so I used to be in that camp, like, I haven't got time, my gym's dropping down, and I did notice it, and I didn't blame anyone else for it, I blame myself for that, right? But motivation versus discipline, we know discipline's going to win every time. Motivation, when you feel like it. If you don't feel like it, you're not going to do it, right? So, I mean, then the next day you're not going to feel like it, and the day after you're not going to feel like it. So motivation, that shouldn't be, are you motivated to do something to do it, right? It needs to be discipline. So, and you can build discipline. So if you don't have it, build a routine. So like my other half now is starting to do a bit more gym regularly, right? And she says to me, I don't feel like doing gym today, I'm tired. And that's exactly how everyone else feels, right? Especially when they're parents, and that's fine. But if you start off with maybe 5 minutes, or even just walking into a gym, we're blessed we have a gym at home, right? So there's that side of it as well, right? People's positions. Do you have a gym at home? Do you not have the gym? Do you have an area to do some sort of exercise, getting on the floor, press ups? I mean, Netflix has this Nike series where they just do literally, exercises, just follow along exercises. Do you have the room to do that?
Other series are available.
Yeah, I'm not endorsing it. No affiliation, right? But I'm just saying.
I listen.
I mean, a year ago, I think 2 years ago, we came across, because I was looking on YouTube, right, for like things for my wife to do, where she just comes down, she has 5 minutes to do, just to build a habit. You need to build a habit. And they didn't need to be long. You didn't need to go and start bench pressing, squatting and shit like that. But Just to
Exactly.
build a routine. 2 minutes, even if like it's not putting any stresses on the body, I'm building the routine. I'm not building any like massive, you start building muscle, you start losing weight. This, that. No, build the routine first.
Yeah.
Build the discipline to be like, I'm going to allocate a certain amount of time to this. So yeah, so we always look on YouTube, found willy-nilly stuff, and they're all different, and it wasn't good because you're finding different things. If you got something structured where you're just following one person on one routine, that kind of series of the Nike, whatever it was, did, because it was the same thing, and you're building up 5-minute exercises, whatever it was, and you could follow along every episode. I don't know how many episodes they had, and she did it for at least a month or so, right? Because it built the routine, and then she stopped, circumstances again, fine. So that's discipline. So discipline, you need discipline over motivation, okay? And then other people will be like, yeah, but I don't have time to build discipline. And yes, I was in the same boat, right? I was busy. I had so many things to do, work life, come home, I'm tired. I've got to prioritize the kids. I've got to prioritize on my behalf. I've got other things outside of work to do, like house chores, whatever, right? But then I started thinking, there's always something I can give up. And that thing was like, if I'm watching a football game, or whatever, I used to be like, no, I need to watch every game that, because they only come on the weekend. I need to watch this, or I need my time. I can sit here half an hour, like just chill and watch something like Peaky Blinders or whatever it is. I was like, hold on, this is my time. I could be in the gym. So make that social time in the gym. You don't need to be pumping iron, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you could be in the gym, listen to a podcast, and start building your habit, but building your discipline by saying, look, this is time I could be spending in the gym. And I know that's hard because that's where I was. I was like, where am I going to fit it in? And for most evenings, I was like, I'm in front of the TV. This is why I'm getting lazy.
Yeah.
This is why I'm getting fat. And I know I'm tired. I was tired. But if you put that time in, take that time and say, look, rather than sitting on my couch, I'm going to sit in the gym. I've actually become better. My energy levels have gone up because that's what happens. It's a consequence of gym. Everyone's like, I'm tired. How am I going to do exercise? But that's the thing, right? If you go in the gym and start building yourself up, you are going to have more energy. You are going to be more strong. And I know I made the argument before when I said I was going to the gym, I was tired and I'm exhausted. But those days I'm not doing gym, or I've got planned for a weekend where I'm not going to be going anywhere near the gym, I'm full of energy. I still wake up tired, but I go through the day without being, I'm exhausted, I'm dead. Because I've been training, my body's a bit more solid, more rigid, and I have more endurance, right, to go through the day and not complain about it. That's what happens when you give up those extra things where you can give up, which you think you didn't. It's the mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired at the end of the day, so I'm going to watch an hour of whatever show you want. It's like, give that up.
Yeah.
Build yourself, go to the gym. And it doesn't need to be hard. And that's, like I said, that wasn't for everyone. That was for me. That's where I started saying, it's like half the time now when football's on, when my wife's watching football, I'm in the shed. I'm just doing gym because I don't need to be there with her watching. I don't support her team anyway. I mean, that's more reason to be in the shed, right? But if she's watching an Indian film or whatnot where she's happy just to sit there on her own and everything's done, I don't need to be like, finally I've got time for myself. I can do that in the gym. Finally, I've got time for myself in the gym. So I'm doing that. And then when I come in, then obviously her football, her show's over. We carry on with the rest of the chores. So I think there's always a bit of time where you can in the day. If you really think about what your routine is, and most people think their routine is the physical tasks, right? My work, I've got a broom, vacuum, I've got to bath the kids. But then what about all the things in between where you sit down and yes, and that is your time, but that is your time you can then go in the gym.
Yeah,
I mean, that's my argument. That's
agree.
where I managed to build myself up. And that's where it comes to discipline, right?
Yeah.
Discipline where you want yourself to be with that free time in the gym or on the couch. Just watching TV. So that's where I came from it. So
No, I agree because there's a couple of things. So one is, it's actually my wife said this to me is when I've said in the past about not having time but to do something. She always said that I will always make time for something that I care about. And for example, she gave is that I play football twice a week, and it's for 5 months when my baby was born until he's 5 months old is the only time I didn't play football. Then I went back once a week for about a month, and then I went back twice. And before then, forever. It was even 3 times a long time ago. But those days are set, and I will go there because in my mind, I'm not going to play sport. This is what I do. It's like brush my teeth, comb my hair, and breakfast. I go football twice a week. It's just something I do. and also watching Man United.
Yeah.
I will be swamped. My work will be busy. I've got like personal admin, like life admin, and other things, and so many things to do. But if Man United is playing and it's on TV, I will have.
Yeah, and this is a
An hour
perfect
and a
perfect
half,
example of this. Like you said, this happened to me literally 2 weeks ago, right? You said, yeah, you're going to make time to watch the game. I wanted to watch the same game, but my brother-in-law wanted. He's a Man United supporter as well. He completely forgot the team was playing, and he came around. He's like, "Let's do gym." I was like, "Can we do gym after the game?" He's like, "Why don't you put in your iPad and we put it in the gym?" I was like, "For fuck's sake, yeah!" Like, I didn't want to because I wanted to relax. I was like, I wanted to relax and watch the game.
Yeah.
But then when I went into the gym, we had it on the iPad and we were doing gym. I was like, he was right. I could have just taken the iPad, do my workout. Because how many people these are fully engaged with the match to begin with?
Yeah,
They've got their phone out in front of them. When the match gets a bit boring, they're like, and then as soon as they hear a scream because something's happened, they're back on.
Yeah, it's like
That's the life we live in now.
There was a news article about it, dual screen. I think did you send it?
I sent it to
you
you,
said
yeah,
about dual screen people watching something and on the phone.
watching TV or their show and being on the phone. When they can disengage from whatever's happening on there, they'll just go straight to their phone and start going on Instagram. Yeah, they can't. No one can sit there now and watch just one TV show. Even at the boring parts, something has to be engaging them at all times. Yeah. And he was right. I was frustrated. I was annoyed. But when I was in the gym, I was like, he was right. I didn't need to sit here and watch every pass of the game. I was like, and don't get me wrong, I am a Man United supporter, but he was right. I mean, if not, I was probably, game would have been on, I would have been on my phone. I was like, I got my workout. I built myself. What's Man United to me? What are they giving me besides a bit of entertainment? I could have just gone in. And it's right, right? That football is a religion, right? That gives nothing back. It's as simple as that. A little bit of enjoyment, but like I said, I had a choice: build myself or sit there and watch, and that would have been more time wasted, right? Because I would have watched the game. Disengaged with my kids because I'm watching the football. I mean, don't get me wrong, one of my daughters is a Man United supporter. Brilliant supporter, by the way, the best supporter ever. Yeah, she actually screams when they score, which is I didn't even make her do that. That's what pisses my wife off because when they score, she's like, "Man United score," and then she gives me a high five. That's wicked. The other one's Liverpool. She doesn't do any of that. By the way, she just doesn't care. And so that would have been like 90 minutes there. Then I would have been an hour in the gym. That's so much time gone where I'm just completely disengaged.
Yeah.
And he was right. Just go in the gym, and he wanted to watch the game as well. It's not like he didn't want to watch it, but he prioritized his fitness, and football came second. I was like, hey, he's right. I could have just done this. And now that's what we do. If something's on that we want to watch, and we're not fully engaged, we'll just put it on, and then we'll just literally do some gym. I mean, that's what the gym is. A TV on in a gym. No, you go to any commercial gym, right? They have all the sports channels on. They're saying, yeah, do exercise, and we'll put the shit on here for you. It's no different at home, right?
Exactly. Because that we talked about the dual screening, but actually just before you mentioned about having your own kind of downtime. I know this is going a bit deep now, but when people do, let's say they've had a really busy day, and they just say, oh, I just want to have my own time. What is the most common thing people do? If they want to have my own time, they go into another room. What's the most common thing people do?
Just switch off. Just literally just sit down and just completely switch off. I mean, that's him. If you're asking me...
I was like, what do most people do?
Oh, I have no idea.
Pull out their phone, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, yeah. Pull out their phone.
Yeah, pull out the phone. They go into the room and say, I just want to switch off and pull out the phone. But actually...
And snack. Because they'll get bored. I've done this. That's why I'll sit there for 20 minutes. This is my time. Time's ticking, but I'm hungry now. And I'll just go even though I've just eaten, I'll go snack. So it's like, that's your downtime, isn't it? Yeah, it's I'm free. I need to do something. And it's like, I'm going to eat.
Yeah. So what they've talked about in this has been in the news a few times as well. When people want to switch off, they'll go and they'll just go on their phone and they'll think just scrolling on Instagram. People want to do that and they'll justify it saying that's my kind of my downtime. I just want to de-stress. But actually, that is stimulating. So actually, it doesn't relax you. You think you're relaxed, but you're just fueling the dopamine, for the thing. So what?
And it depends on the content you're watching as well. Because obviously, if you're fully engaged in that content, you're not actually relaxing.
That's not relaxing.
You're more engaged, and if you watch something that's gonna piss you off, you're in the wrong mindset already.
Exactly. And but someone might say, oh, do you know what? I'm not really paying attention. I'm just flicking through. But that short content, that kind of actually is fueling you. So check me out. Check this out. Yeah. people want downtime, so they'll say, actually, I don't want to exercise because I just need a break to my own time. But if that break and that downtime is just scrolling, which isn't actually giving you the downtime, some form of physical activity could actually replace that, because it's not now so different. Because if it was like, okay, I want downtime and I'm actually gonna lay down and meditate for half hour, I don't have to, said no one ever to me, but let's say that it was that, or it was doing some cooking. I love baking or someone, same thing, but actually that can then provide food for the next day. Things like that, we think, okay, that's actually fine. Your downtime is baking, and actually people can eat after that, right? So it's not a bad thing, right? Or doing some DIY. They love carpentry work, so actually for their downtime they just want to fix the table, fix the chair. And you think, fair enough. But if it's something which isn't productive and actually isn't relaxing, you could then say, what's so bad about doing some form of exercise, which, yes, may equally stimulate you like the doom scrolling, but will have a bit more benefit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And the other thing is, like, even if you don't have a gym, you can. I remember when I was younger, and when I used to do martial arts, I tried to make my time as productive as I could. So after having a shower, I used to stretch, and I used to put the TV on and stretch while I was watching TV. So I used to spend an hour. Most people are like, oh yeah, do 10 minutes of stretching, 15 minutes of stretching, whatever it is. But that was a day like when I was doing martial arts, right? I didn't need to concentrate on doing gym. I was young. Stretching was key to martial arts, right? And I was like, where am I going to find time to do this? So I was like, yeah, I've had a shower, I'm relaxed. Go downstairs and just do stretching. Relax stretching. And I used to put on a movie and I'm just stretching. Yeah, I'm not fully engaged, but I know I'm actually improving myself. I'm relaxed, I'm stretching, and when I go to bed, I'm actually so relaxed. But I've got two things done. I watched a movie and I relaxed and I'm stretching. Rather than, like you said, strolling, you have to put effort in to go to the gym, right? But when you're relaxing, you just literally just one knee to the other. You're probably just relaxing into those positions. It's almost like relaxed yoga, control your breathing. All those exercises, they are still better than just sitting there going.
Yeah, and again, this is, I totally get now. Everyone would be like, oh, it's easier said than done, which I totally get, because
it's actually quite easy.
No. I mean, the getting off the addiction, right? And that's modern society. We're all addicted to these little power computers that we've got in our pockets, right? So the next thing is talking about the forgotten macronutrient. So obviously everyone talks about the fats, carbs, and protein. But the fourth one, which is 7 calories per gram, alcohol. So I think that it can contribute to many people's dad bods, and I think the because this is, do you know how we've just talked about, like, the maybe disengaging and like taking a bit of time out for yourself. I think if you are in a like the house is busy, kids. The family, everything's going on. Sometimes at this period of time, do you think that it's common for the guy to be like, do you know what? Maybe I wanna. Their downtime is, let's say, like going to the pub, or maybe going to the other room and having a drink, just to kind of like relax. Whether it's on their phone or watching a movie, or it's just actually meeting some mates, and then maybe that frequency might be higher, because when you're younger you might be, let's say, drinking, and then you get married and have kids, and actually you might be so busy for a couple of years that you don't have time for that. But once maybe the kids are slightly older, or you have a bit more free time, then alcohol consumption then all of a sudden goes up. Do you think that's something that is a dad bod contributor?
So I'm going to be honest, I can't probably answer any questions around alcoholism. I don't drink. Yeah, I mean, I have drunk, but I don't drink. Yeah, and this was a long time. This was a long time. So me to say I don't drink at all, it's gonna be absolute BS. But I haven't touched a drink since I was like at least 20, right? So that was way before I even got married and going to that. So I can't answer those questions. But in terms of, that's a good thing. I wouldn't say trap because that's how I see it, and drinking alcohol because it's not good for you, right? Depending on the amount you use, small amounts they always say it's good for you, right? Drinking a bit of wine.
I think the newest evidence saying that's not even true now.
Ah,
But again, yeah,
like I
who
said,
knows? In 10
I
years'
don't
time.
know, so I don't know. I was just trying to
No.
steel
I
man
agree.
that argument, right?
Yeah. No,
So-
that has been the case, but I think the
But what I'm
recent
saying
things
is
are
that I
saying
can't
different.
make
Yeah.
an argument for that. And the two things that I never fell into was excessive drinking and smoking. I've never touched the smoking. So those are two habits I've never got into. So I can't make an argument for those kind of situations, right? But in terms of what my habits are, that the closest thing I probably have is I have a sweet tooth. The amount of chocolate I eat is just fucking ridiculous. And people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's not the same." Dude, fucking you eat too much sugar, you're gonna fuck up your life. That leads to diabetes, right? The excessive amount of sugar you eat. So that's the closest thing I can say. Yeah, these little habits where like close to alcoholism, like I said, can't compare it. This one you're gonna probably have to answer or give it more input. But yeah, these bad habits of like going into another room, eating some sugar or eating sweet food, right? Indians do the same thing, right? It's alcohol and sweet food, right? So I can contest to one of those. Yeah, it's almost like a dopamine hit, right? Getting the sugar, feeling relaxed, making yourself feel better for a shitty day or just being tired. Having
exactly.
sweet food, right? That's what it does to the brain. Kids love it, right? But as an adult, it's the same thing. You might not be on a buzz, but having sweet food, sugary foods, cakes, ladoos, whatever, it just makes you feel a bit more relaxed, makes you in a happy phase, and you can just tolerate the day a bit more on such a small amount. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not going to be like a massive, you're up of energy, you're happy, but it does have an effect on the brain, right? You're kind of a bit more relaxed. You're not on edge all the time.
I think you're right, because with both the things, actually one of the key things is about how calories are a little bit more hidden. For example, I said alcohol is 7 calories per gram. So you think of a pint or whatever, it's liquid, right? So you don't necessarily, as many people don't associate calories with drink. Or a drink, for example, even a fizzy drink, let's say a non-alcoholic, a full-fat Coke. So I think that after a few drinks like that you don't realize actually that's calories in liquid form. Also, after a drink, you might then be snacking at the same time, and then again you finish a night out in the pub, then actually you might end up having a bit of a takeaway or something. So all of a sudden that adds up. I think with sweet food, like sweets, same thing. Like you think of I don't know, maybe let's go one extreme, like a gulab jamun, or something like that. They're small, you have
a Lindo, for example. More people will know. Lindo, small little balls. I mean, they have a lot of. I think it's 200 calories. I think I could be wrong, but I haven't checked because I love Lindo. But the last time I checked, I wanted to put it. Ignorance is bliss, right? I play that card all the time. Ignorance is bliss. So I'll just eat them and I'll be like, I don't know how many calories that was. I'm not gonna make
5.
It's way more than 5. Yeah,
and because it's small, and since we associate like. If someone says, "Oh, I don't want to have high calorie foods," you think like a dirty burger or like massive pizza.
Size, the physical size of the food doesn't mean it's calories are massive in that. You can have a massive bowl of salad. The calories are tiny compared to a fucking giant like kebab or some shit. You're gonna kill yourself.
People do this online where I've seen people have a massive plate of food. Again, it might have a lot more fruits and veg and stuff like that. And then you say, "Oh, this is like 500 calories," and then there would be like a tiny amount of
Big Mac or something.
But I think it's a lot of like sweet stuff or kind of things that we don't expect, and it's like this is also 500 calories, and like whoa, and so you're right. So this is probably those kind of hidden things, and again, alcohol or sweet things. And again, we're not saying what's right or wrong. We're just I'm kind of just picking things of why. This whole phenomenon of this dad bod might be happening, and I think that's two key things.
At the point, trying to make alcoholism kind of relieves you from that day, right? You had a tough day, you're tired, I'm assuming, right? Same thing for sugar, having a little bit of sugar, come home, have some sugar, it just makes me feel a bit more relaxed, right? I have a sweet tooth, it's just one of those things. So when I have a little bit of sugar, it's a bit more relaxed. I can just tolerate, the kids. I'm not saying they're bad, but that the consistent, like fighting, jumping, telling them off, it means I don't need to do it as much because I just feel a bit more relaxed. This is that little bit of sugar just kind of calm me down a bit, And I'm assuming alcohol is the same, right?
Yeah.
But then it's controlling how much of that you consume, and I'm assuming it gets out of hand quite quickly. And that's the thing, just a little bit today, but it doesn't mean it's a little bit tomorrow, right?
So the next thing, and then we'll talk about it, and then after we'll have to talk about like what can we do about it. But now it's kind of going away from the key bits, and now it's more kind of like we're going to like psychology here now. Is the perspective of the self-awareness of the man with the dad bod, and the perspective from their partner. So let's go from the perspective of the man. Self-identity. What do you think? Like, do you think people get to this age and basically they stop caring about how they look, right? Like, you know, even before you think, you know, you're looking in the mirror, you know, you want to always be, you know, I don't know, you sort your hair out, you sort your beard out, you know, you want good clothes, you want to look fit, all those kind of things. So more vanity as well, and then you get to this certain age where you think, do you know what, like, don't care, and that contributes to you to then not do the things that would, which actually has benefit, right? So, like, for example, obviously exercise, you know, yeah, you may look good, but actually cardiovascular.
I think when
improvements, all
you're
those kind of things.
I think when you're younger, you're not doing it to kind of be healthy.
No,
Especially
no,
when you're young, you're doing it purely because of you want to be attractive. You want to find
For
someone
most people, yeah.
exactly. It's the appeal, right? So yeah, like you said, doing your hair, doing all this, making yourself looking as attractive as possible. That doesn't mean necessarily to have a six pack and be shredded, right? You're just trying to appeal to the opposite sex, you know, whatever it is what it is. Yeah? But once you get married, when you're married, you're kind of like, you're done, right? You don't need to. You stop caring. You stop giving a shit, and then it just kind of people stop caring, and I don't know why that is, because I don't think, and I think that's more to do with their physical appearance, but that's separated from being healthy, right? Because remember, you can still be healthy and not give a shit about your appearance, right?
Yeah.
And that's a clear distinction people need to make. Going to the gym and having a six pack, you know, for your appearance, that's a completely separate goal from just being healthy. Going to the gym and being healthy. You know, we talked about kind of already about going to the gym in your older ages when you hit the 30s, 40s, 50s age and staying healthy, right? Mobility, moving around, keeping resistance training. Those are two different things. So once you get married, you stop giving a shit about your physical appearance, right? Because you've got the person you wanted to be with in most cases, right?
Eat what you want.
Eat what you want, give a shit. And but why they stop doing gym and trying to stay healthy, I don't know. Because I can't answer that. And I did go through that phase where, I just stopped giving a shit for a good couple of years. I was like, whatever. But then I got back onto it because then I got into the videos of, you know, we talked about it so many times about staying healthy, being fit. But in terms of why it happens, it's a bit of a difficult one. I mean, some people, there are a few people that keep it going. For some reason, they like being attractive and wanted to keep that going. They just like that whole lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, right? Being attractive and, you know, always being called out for how good looking they are. Oh, look at that guy. He looks pretty good for when he's married. He's still looking attractive. I mean, that's just one of those things, right? It's individual needs. But most people, they just stop. But I think they don't need to stop the health side of it. They need to change their goals, right? From being physically attractive to don't focus on that. Focus on the health side. Be healthy as long as possible. You know, the mobility side of it, the goals and everything just need to change. So that's all I can say about that. But
Do you think some people think they just have to accept what they think is reality? So they think that, you know, this is, you know, there's a reason why people call it a dad bod. Is this because this is what happens? You know, like people laugh and joke, you know, before I got married, they're like, oh, when you got married, you're gonna have to give up going to football. You know, you have to do this, and it's just gonna happen, right? And also, for example, like all the time pressures and kind of like time poverty, we call it. They just think this is. I just don't have time. This is what just happens. Do you think there's an element of that? Like people just think that's it.
There is, but I think that's more brought on by social media.
Society in general.
Society, that's the wrong term. I shouldn't have said social media. Society, sorry, that's what I was trying to say. Society, just accepting they're married. You know, the married life, it means I just give up and be a slob. And it's like, you shouldn't accept that. That shouldn't be acceptable. And we talked about this. I told you that story when I went to Dubai, right? Whether it fits this scenario perfectly, you can judge for yourself. But like, I was in Dubai, right? And me and the missus and I had our kids together, and we were in the lift going down, and there was a young dad with his daughter, and his daughter was the same age as ours. I mean, it's irrelevant, but anyway, he was there, clearly a dad, and this guy was in shape, right? In Dubai, everyone's wearing t-shirts and shorts, but you could see these guys were in immaculate shape, yeah. I didn't care because I was in shape as well, right? So he wasn't a threat to
You
me.
didn't get his number, no?
He wasn't. No, he wasn't a threat to me. Yeah,
Okay.
so that was fine, right? Just got to put that out there. Right? But anyway, so we got off the lift, and we both happened to go in the same direction, off to the left. I remember this because it was amazing. So we got off, and we're kind of following his general direction, and on the other side, there was a wife, a husband, and his 2 kids in a pram, and he was pushing the kids in the pram, and he was trying to adjust them or something, so he wasn't paying attention. And because they were in my view, the wife was just eyeballing the guy. Not the kind of sense that, oh, look, he's a dad, he's got young kids, oh, that's just amazing. No, I want this guy. And then I looked at the husband, and he was the epitome of a dad bod that just had given up, didn't give a shit, and not to his own fault. I'm not saying it was his own fault. I don't know the situation, right? But the scenario where the wife was looking at another dad because he was in amazing shape, and he's a dad, he's got kids, she's probably thinking, what have I got? You know, and I'm assuming, right? And I was like, everyone needs to come on. You need to just, I don't know.
This is a reason for the next point of, first of all, can you do anything about it? But actually, to the point is, should you do something about it?
Yeah. So yes, you should. Every dad, yeah. And for this is why I gave the scenario. Look, everyone does window shopping, right? You can't stop that. You will always look at the attractive person. You know, a man will always look at an attractive woman. A woman will always look at an attractive man, right? You know, men will look at attractive men. Whatever it is, what it is, right? But you can't stop people looking at other people, especially when they are in very good shape. We live in that society, right? We idolize the perfect, you know, in shape person, 6 packs. I mean, look at Hollywood, for crying out loud, right? And I'm not saying you as a husband need to be there, but stay in shape, because like you can't just let yourself go and be a slob. You know, it's not acceptable, like in terms of, especially for your partner. You know, you shouldn't be doing it to be like, I want to stay in shape, but you don't know, right? You need to like stay fit, stay active. You know, you can't be like, when you get married, people look, for example, when they get married, they go to the gym. Everyone goes to the gym. Why are you doing that? Why do they go to the gym just before they get married? Because they want to be in the best shape possible to look the most attractive they can, not attractive to someone else, that they can for their partners, and they get married, right? And then all of a sudden they go downhill. And because of that, this was the situation that I saw unfolding in front of me. Married, settled, 2 kids, dad bod, wife looking at another man now, who is a dad and had decided to keep in shape. By all means. And he was absolutely entitled to be flexing around in Dubai. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was jealous. Yeah. But everybody should stay in shape, like, you know, and you won't have situations like this. And it's a shame, but it happens. Everyone's entitled to look at other people, regardless of if you like it or you're going to own it and say, oh, yeah, my wife doesn't do that or my husband doesn't do that. Fuck off. Everyone does it, yeah? But it's to the extent they do it, right?
Yeah.
If your wife is looking at a guy and is like, yeah, I'm sorry.
I thought this last segment was going to be long, but actually can be summarized as
don't let it get to that situation.
Reverse the dad bod or lose your woman. Is that what you
I'm not. It's so hard.
End of the podcast.
Yeah. You know what? It's so hard to kind of put this message out online, right? Because you're going to get so much shit for saying stuff like that. But if you're witnessing these things happen, what can you do? What can you do? You got to make a decision. Basically, the decision I made was, do I want to be in a position where my wife is looking at another man because he decided to stay in shape? Or do I stay in shape as well? What do I choose? You can't hate the woman because you've made bad decisions or you've let yourself go. There's always time to kind of improve yourself, and it's just the society we live in, right? Women will always be attractive to an attractive man. It's just one of those things. So nothing you can do, like, you know, if you know what you look like, but in terms of like your physically fixed structures, like your face, your nose, whatever, that's fine, right? But your wife married you because she finds your general features attractive, right? But letting yourself go, that's a different story. That's something you can fix, right? Because you've let yourself go, and you wouldn't get into situations like this. That's what I was saying, and I was like, even my wife knew it. She saw it happen, and it's like,
and even more of a serious side of things. Like, I think a lot of people do make changes when they have been faced with reality of like potentially life-changing news. So, for example, I've had patients who've come in and then said, they need to make a big change. They've got an injury, for example, they really want to work on it just so they can get back and, eat well and exercise, because their GPS says let's say they're pre-diabetic, or their LDL cholesterol or triglycerides are like off the chart, and all these kind of things. And it's like just the blood rush from their face. They are just in fear, so that they make that change. And then I think the first question is, can you do something about it? Of course you can. And I think that's you don't want to really get it to that point, right? I think the whole kind of letting go and making these changes that will have an impact on your health, can have changes that you're going to live to regret, isn't it? Medications and all sorts. From that to increasing joint pain to mobility, that you could be playing around with your kids. Those little things have impact, and I think actually that's a good enough reason to try to make a change, I think, isn't it?
There's so many reasons. Yeah, there's so many reasons. Some things are in your control and some things are out of your control. You just got to pick which ones you're going to go with, right? I mean, what are you going to do, right? Make a decision and go with it. And if you leave it too long, like you said, you're going to pay the consequences, right? Yeah. And like I said, your wife looking at another man is one of those consequences. Whether you like it or not, I mean, exactly. This is truth, right? And if that's how it wants to be, you'll never know. Yeah. But if you're going to the gym, and like I said, being physically attractive is just one aspect of not having a dad bod and trying to stay in shape. And don't get me wrong, there is a small percentage of women that love dad bods. They love the bigger guy, right? But that's a small percentage of women,
Yeah, it's interesting, because that's one thing people have said, isn't it? That a lot of people like the dad bod, but I think that maybe
I don't think they know the definition of what a dad bod is. I said, most women think a dad bod is someone like Jason Momoa, who's built like a tank, right? I mean, no, I'm not talking about his Aquaman body where he was actually quite lean. I'm talking about, I think now, because he doesn't actually give a shit about getting into shape, but he's still a very big built guy, right?
So he was really fit, but he's kind of let himself go.
Yeah, because he doesn't care.
But he's still better than...
Yeah, exactly. He's still better than 99% of men, right? Because, I mean, I'm assuming he's one of those people that can we're going off topic right here, right? But he's one of those people that can let himself go, right? Because he's already rich and famous. So he had the body, he was rich and famous, he doesn't need to give a shit. So whether before, if he wasn't rich or famous, he couldn't afford to be fat, because then no one would give a shit about who he is. He would just be an average guy, right? A fat Jason Momoa, right? Or a dad bod Jason Momoa. But because he was lean, he got some attention. Then he got into movies and he became rich and famous. So he had everything. Exactly. So now he doesn't give a shit. He can, because he's still rich and famous and people know who he is. So he can let himself go a bit. And just like, for example, Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, come on. He gets ripped online for like, come on, how are these 20-year-old women dating this guy? Man's not in any shape whatsoever. He doesn't look like Brad Pitt, right?
He's a great actor, though.
But what I'm saying is, he was a handsome young kid, right?
Yeah.
Got rich and famous and can let himself go and still attract, attractive ladies. 99% of people are not in that boat, right? So yeah, so very small percentage of women do find dad bod, the actual dad bod, attractive. But that's like hitting the lottery, right? I mean, come on, not everyone has those women. Women are attracted to attractive men, vice versa, right? I mean, I know I went on that a bit longer than I needed to.
No, fair enough.
But that's what it is, right? It's one aspect of staying in shape and not having a dad bod. You won't have a situation like that. So if that's a kick up the arse, I mean, hopefully you don't look at your wife and be like, I listened to this podcast and he said he'd be looking at other men, men. You know what the other thing was funny? I'll put myself in this boat. A couple of weeks ago, or about a month now, we've been watching Jack Reacher. Don't know if you've seen Jack Reacher.
Yeah, I've seen it,
Made me feel like shit sitting on that sofa. I was like, why did I suggest we should watch this? Because now my wife is fully locked in. And she's like,
are you talking about the
Amazon
show? That's Reacher.
Yeah, Reacher. Sorry,
Reacher.
Not the movie, not with Tom Cruise.
That's Jack Reacher, the program.
Yeah, I'm not offended by him. He's quite short anyway. So I'm not offended by him. So he's alright.
But the Reacher, he is massive.
That guy is built differently, right? Yeah. And he's literally the manliest man on that show. It's not one of those woke shows, right, where he gets outdone by a woman or like whatever. He's like, I'm just going to be just a man and just blast through this. And it's like my wife's like fully engaged.
Yeah.
And I feel a bit threatened. I was like, you know what? I need to hit the gym and
look like him.
trying my best to look like Reacher. But yeah, it's just one
Well,
of the things.
but awesome, yeah, perfect. I think we covered a lot of reasons of why.
Oh,
it
don't take
happens.
steroids to get to your goals.
Yes.
Yeah, don't take anything else. Don't take any of that and say I need to go to the gym and start pumping steroids. No.
We come somehow style with it.
No. Do you know how many people take that the wrong way? And that's the problem. A lot of people look online. There's a lot of people that want to make the change, right? To health, especially like me, when I want to make that change. When I
Yeah.
go online and I try and find, try to follow along with some of this stuff, all you see is just these people on steroids.
Yeah.
And they're just like doing weights and they're like, yeah, I do bicep curls and their biceps like out here. Dude, you did not do bicep curls and you got like an 8-pack and you're out there just by doing those simple. Everyone can do this. The moves are simple, right? In the gym, they're very, very simple. Push, pull, whatever it is, squat, bench press. There's no way they got into that shape. I mean, there are the small 1% that dedicate themselves to absolute clean living, but they're lean. They're not Reacher. Even Reacher's probably on some sort of supplements. And look like he does. He's in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
So we're not saying you should go to that extent. Just just a bit better, right? I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, thank you.
It's not steroids, right? It's not steroids.
Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. He speaks wisdom. But I think we've covered good reasons why the
Probably the worst conclusion.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. But I think we've covered quite a lot about reasons why we think people may get to a dad bod stage. I think over the whole conversation, there's little tips and tricks of what we think. Listen, we're not Jack Reachers here, right?
We're people.
But
I don't want to get confused with Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
I don't know his actor's name. I'm really.
Although
bad.
I think Tom Cruise takes his shirt off in the movie, and
But he still
is,
looks small.
No, but I think he is quite ripped in the movie.
He is quite ripped. I'll give him that. Yeah. He is quite ripped, but he's
I mean,
not,
I wouldn't mind looking at how he looked in the
he's
movie.
Not Reacher, though, is he?
Yeah, he's not Reacher. Yeah, I think tips. Yeah, so we're not like that. We're people who've
Experienced
lived
it,
it,
we've made
and still
change.
living through Dad Bod. So I'm actually going to take the advice that we've given,
Yeah.
and then watch me in a year.
I think the discipline part. I think it took a lot out of me to be more disciplined and then start giving up things I didn't even think about doing my day. The whole routine of do this. But then I was like, there was time I could have taken out, and I didn't. That didn't come to me by myself. It was watching other videos. The funny thing is, you got to watch 100 videos to get one person that will say the right thing that fits you, right? Because the videos, they're so broad, they're trying to catch as big of an audience as possible, right? So they're going to say generic things. But then you'll watch a 1 hour video, and in that 10 seconds, one person will say one thing that clicks with you. And that was it. And for me, it was like, write out what you do in the day. And if you're sitting in front of that couch for 10, 15 minutes or half an hour just to watch your soul because you want to unwind, can it be done in the gym? Can you unwind in the gym by just doing some weights? That clicked for me. So it wasn't like I got to them myself. I got told. I was like, you know what? Sorry, I don't know who it was that said this. It was a long time ago now. But yeah, that worked for me. I was like, I can it was actually my brother-in-law that said, watch the Man United game in the gym. So I've got to give him full credit for that. But as in, the message, whatever you're trying to get to, put yourself in the mindset, right? I mean, you've seen bodybuilders that put up posters, right? They're not putting up posters because they're weird. They're putting those posters up because they want to get in the right mindset, right? So these little habits, or put yourself in the right place, surround yourself in the place you want to be, right? So whatever you want to be, or get out yourself, do a dad bod, start building a little gym. You've invested some money, some time, dumbbells, you might not have the space, but try and lock yourself in to whatever it is you need to do, right? I mean, that was a better conclusion than
I like
the reach. The reach, and start small. Start small.
I think that's probably.
It doesn't need to be big.
I think it's probably addressing the reasons. I think we pointed out a few of the specific reasons, and I think actually looking at them individually, and sometimes saying, you know what, let me look at one thing. How can I improve that one thing?
Yeah.
Because that's sometimes a particular reason, right? For example, we said about the whole taking food of once the little one hasn't finished. Like, for example, that actually looking at that and okay, how do I not waste the food, but also how do I not just have that 2 breakfasts at the same time? Actually, addressing that one little thing, so starting small, then then looking at the other reasons and building them.
So the best way I think I've approached something like that. So if you want to get into specifics, I mean, we try not to get into too many specifics. We don't want to tell you how to do things, right? But that specific thing, you could be like, so like I said, I made toast for my kids, and then they come down, they don't want it, right? So I wouldn't make them like 3-4 portions of toast each. I'd make them like toast, cut it in half, fold it, they have half, and then have a slice of banana with it. They'll have something healthy. So the food that got wasted isn't as a bigger portion. I've got to eat fucking tons of bread, and then wonder about. But now they got smaller portions and a banana. And if they're still hungry, I can then give them another healthy snack, like another fruit to complement the quick fast food I have to prep for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, because the fast, like I said, we've talked about the healthy food is such low on calories, so you don't mind picking that up and eating it on top of what you ate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, after your meal, you can have a banana. It's not going to kill you. You can have that extra apple. But for your kids, depending on a young day, it'll fill them up, right?
Yeah.
A banana, an apple, maybe another small pot of yogurt, or a healthy one, of course. But yeah, so something that is still low in calorie, but then just put healthier food instead of loads of wasted cereal, big bowl of cereal, or whatever it's going to be. So vegetables. I mean, I know kids hate vegetables, but try and load up their plate with more vegetables. So if you have to finish it, you haven't, consumed something that's so dense in calories. That's all. So that's what we do now. Well, that's what we do. So we try and fill up their plate with loads of carrots and broccoli and stuff, even though they hate it. That's the bigger portions. If it goes to waste, we got no problem eating it because it's a healthy alternative.
You heard it here first. All right, awesome.
Cool.
Thanks so much.
Cool. Thank you.